is a spiritual deity. Freedom and liberty and justice shall fight for you. When you fight for freedom with all your soul, take it from me. This is Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra, BCB, the voice of the nation, the voice.
And here is a special announcement from the leadership of Biafra government in exile. This is BCB.
The continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu and the refusal of the Nigerian court to grant him bail this week is one of the greatest miscarriages of justice. And we must condemn it. And we must demand the immediate release of Kanu. Every Igbo leader, political, religious, traditional, must rise up with one voice and demand the release of Kanu. He has not committed any crime against the Nigerian state, and we do not see any reason why he should continue to languish in DSS detention. We learned that he is in poor health, and we demand his immediate release. He must be allowed to see his doctors and to receive medical attention, and also to see his family. Sunday Igboho, who was agitating for Yoruba nation, he is free with his family. Nnamdi Kanu is agitating for the freedom of his own people in a peaceful way. He was illegally renditioned from Kenya and is still held in solitary confinement for over 2 years now, in blatant breach of his human rights against all international conventions. Everyone in Biafra land, every leader, should call this out and call the Nigerian government and demand his immediate release. Biafra government in exile, demand the release of Nnamdi Kanu. We call on the British government to change their position. The government that preaches human rights and the defense of democracy and free speech must be honest and preach and do what they preach. The British government should prevail upon Nigeria to end all human rights abuse and release Kanu immediately. Let us now give honor to whom honor is due. It's always good to praise anyone that has done a great job in Biafra land. In that vein, we want to give honor to Governor Oti, Governor Alex Oti of Abia State, and say a very big well done to him for the good job he's doing in the last 9 months. A very short time that he's been in office. We have seen transformation of Aba, most especially the opening of the power station in Osisioma. This is a welcome development and one that gives us hope. We also congratulate Professor Barton Nudge of Geometrics Power for their perseverance. We understand this project has been going on for over 20 years, and they have persevered. They have not given up. They did not give up, and they finally have brought this power station to life. Aba to Biafra land is very strategic, and power is very crucial in production and manufacturing, which Aba is known for. It is a much needed infrastructure that Aba desperately needs. And for Biafra land to fulfill her potential of being the Japan of Africa. We know Aba and Biafra has the potential to be much more. And by the grace of God, as we pursue our freedom and liberty, the development and the achievement of our potential will follow. At the same time, we want to call out those who have constituted themselves into detractors and have sworn that they will continue to run Ali Igbo down. Those who stand against the development and progress of Ali Igbo. We have to call them out and ask them to stop. If the reports trending on social media about the role Emeka Offor played in delaying the Osisioma power station is true, then we must condemn it. We urge every Igbo man, every Biafran, to be progressive, to be selfless, and to support anything that will bring development to Ali Igbo. Igbos must be together, work together to make Ali Igbo an economic powerhouse, which we know we can be. We must call out the governors of Imo State, Enugu State, Anambra and Ebonyi states, including Delta State. We demand that you follow suit in the way that Governor Alex Otti has gone and deliver sound, selfless service to our people. You must pay salaries that are sustainable, invest in power and steel, invest in education, healthcare, in good roads, factories, and youth development projects. And all those that have stolen state funds must be arrested, prosecuted, and made to refund every penny that they stole. We call out people like Rochas Okorocha, Okezi Ikpeazu, Theodore Orji, Orji Uzor Kalu, Sam Egwu, Nyesom Wike, Willie Obiano, and many other politicians. You must return your loots, which will be used for the development of Ali Igbo. Never again will Igbos vote selfish politicians who only know how to enrich themselves, while millions of our people suffer in poverty and in penury in the midst of plenty. The time to hold our leaders accountable is now. Our struggle for Biafra self-determination or the autonomy of Eastern region must remain peaceful. It must remain peaceful because it is the right way to go, because the agitation is right, the agitation is noble, and is holy. Anyone engaging in violent conduct in any way, shape, or form is not part of this struggle. Anybody engaging in criminality is not part of this struggle. However, we reserve the right to self-defense. The Nigerian government has allowed terrorists and bandits to continue to terrorize our communities, especially communities in Orlu, Enugu, Owerri, Okigwe, and many other places. We must organize and defend our communities, our farms, our churches, our schools, and our streets. I urge communities in Orlu areas to be at alert, to be very vigilant, especially the communities in Mbe, in Umuchime, in Osina, in Idato areas. We are warning that there is an influx of Fulani herdsmen in these areas. You must be alert, you must be awake. There are bound to be kidnapping and terrorism activities in these areas. Your community vigilante groups must be at alert and be ready to flush out these terrorists by every means possible. We have the right to self-defense. Similarly, communities in Owerri West, places like Obinze, Ohajegbema, Avo, Obibiezena, Ihiagwa, Umokbo, and the environs must also be at alert. All vigilante groups in these areas must keep watch. All president generals in these areas, Ndieze and Ndigwe in all these areas, village heads, church leaders must come together and provide resources to local vigilantes to drive these terrorists and kidnappers away from our bushes and farms. It must be done. Everyone at home and in exile abroad must now stand and be counted. You must help in any way that you can for our freedom and liberty, and to secure our freedom for future generations as well. This is very important. Our children must live in peace and security, and we must do everything that we can to make sure that that happens. Our hope and prayer is for Biafra to leave Nigeria, and we want this to happen in a peaceful, negotiated agreement. We need Nigeria to understand that we are not their enemy. It's simply that we cannot coexist in the same nation. That we realize that our future lies in a separate nation. A nation that will be good neighbors and good partners with you. And therefore, it is paramount that we come to the table and achieve a negotiated separation. It is our job in this generation to work for the freedom and liberty of Biafra in a peaceful and secure way. We need our children to live in a peaceful and secure and prosperous nation, where they will not be discriminated against, where they can unleash their God-given talents on a level playing field, where there will be equity and justice and fairness, where there will be competition and opportunity for everyone. We must aggressively grow our own food and become food independent in Igbo land and the entire Biafra land. We must educate our children and empower them. Our politicians must be accountable. They must use whatever resources available fully for our people. They must be bold and courageous in speaking out for equity and justice. Whether you're in the House of Assembly or you're serving in any part of government, we demand that you be courageous and speak out for your people. Fellow Biafrans, it is our duty, wherever we are, to make sure that we contribute in any way that we can, our ideas, our energy, our finances, in the right way to pursue freedom and liberty. The restoration of the independent state of Biafra is a task that all of us must pursue. BGIE is following a peaceful and non-violent approach, and we encourage everyone to follow this approach. We recognize that violence is not the way forward, and we must respect law and order as we pursue this endeavor through diplomatic and legal means. Follow us on Facebook at BGIE Government, and also like us on YouTube and drop your comments and make contributions of any ideas you might have. May God help us and bless us, and may He bless our nation, Biafra.
This is the Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra, BCB.
This is BCB, the Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra, bringing you the news headlines for the week. In the news this week, declare a state of emergency and security and hunger. Anambra Labour Party lawmakers tell Tinubu. Why Abia geometric power projects took 20 years. Governor Oti. Nigerians, where is the outrage? The pigs by Jibrin Ibrahim, a professor of political science development consultant and a senior fellow of the Center for Democracy and Development, also a chair of the editorial board of Premium Times. Stay tuned for the details coming shortly. From Politics Online, declare a state of emergency on security and hunger. Anambra Labour Party lawmakers tell Tinubu. 8 members of the Anambra State House of Assembly affiliated with the Labour Party have called for a declaration of a state of emergency on security and hunger. The lawmakers have also urged President Bola Tinubu and state governors, including Anambra Governor Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, to suspend all infrastructural projects temporarily. During a press conference briefing at the Anambra State House Assembly complex, the lawmakers emphasized the critical need for immediate actions to prioritize the feeding and security of Nigerians. They conveyed their intention to forfeit their basic salary for the next 6 months, intending to alleviate the masses of suffering. The communique issued after their meeting stated, His Excellency, Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu should suspend work on all other sectors, including infrastructure, for the next 6 months and declare a state of emergency and security and hunger in the nation. All state governors, including our dear governor, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, should suspend all infrastructural development in their various states for the next 6 months and declare a state of emergency and security and hunger. Expressing solidarity with their party leader, Mr. Peter Obi, the lawmakers commended his advocacy for the welfare of the common man. They echoed Obi's call for urgent attention to the hunger and security issues plaguing the nation, highlighting the severity of the challenges faced by ordinary Nigerians. From Channels TV, why Abia Geometric Power Project took 20 years, Governor Oti. The power plant, which was described as the first integrated electricity facility in Nigeria, is located in Osisioma Industrial Hub in Aba. Governor Alex Oti of Abia State has explained that a number of things contributed to the delay of the 181 megawatts geometric power plant in the Aba area of the state. This is a project that was started in 2004 during the administration of Governor Orji Uzor Kalu. Oti of the Labour Party said on Channels TV's Politics Today program on Thursday. The $800 million project, including the building of 27-kilometer natural gas pipeline championed by the Geometric Power Limited, has the capacity to generate and distribute 181 megawatts power. A new electricity distribution company, the Aba Power Limited Electric, has started taking electricity from the plant and supplying it to about 9 of the 17 local government areas in the southeast state. On Monday, Vice President Kashim Shettima inaugurated the geometric power plant in Aba, the industrial hub of the state. The power plant, which was described as the first integrated electricity facility in Nigeria, is located in Osisioma Industrial Hub of Aba in Abia. Given a background to the delay in the project, Oti, a former bank chief, said sometimes in 2010, the founder of the Geometric Power Limited, an ex-minister for science and technology, Bat Nnaji, approached him as an executive director of the First Bank to appeal that the former bank that was funding the project had stopped it midway owing to the global economic crisis. He said, "We processed an 85 million facility for him, but unfortunately he couldn't draw down on that facility because the board of the bank felt that because I was proceeding to Diamond Bank as CEO, it wouldn't make any sense to allow the country to withdraw the facility when the person that was going to manage it was not there. I headed to Diamond Bank, which actually was the bank that was initially funding the project. On getting to Diamond Bank, we restructured the facility and saw it to completion by October 2014, the time I left Diamond Bank. But a lot of things happened thereafter that made it impossible for the project to take off. There was the unfortunate sale and resale of the Aba Invest Island that took a life of its own. When that was resolved, Shell, which owned the major oil block that was supposed to supply gas to Geometric, has sold it to another company whose focus was not gas for domestic use, but export. By the time we took over on the 29th of May, we sat down with Geometric a few times and engaged NNPC, and NNPC deployed their partners and gas was made available. The governor said the plant currently supplies 141 megawatts power. The capacity at this time is expandable to 181 megawatts when the final turbine is delivered. According to him, the third turbine of the plant has been fired and all the 3 turbines are operational, and power outage will be the exception rather than the rule, which is the situation at the time. Oti said it would be difficult to say that his predecessor, Okezie Ikpeazu, played a role in the project, adding that there is no evidence that the Abia State government has an equity in the plant. I have set up a team to dig into the facts, he said. From the Premium Times, Nigerians, where is the outrage? A piece by Jibrin Ibrahim, a professor of political science and development consultants, a senior fellow of the Center for Democracy and Development, and also a chair of the editorial board of the Premium Times. I have said this before, one of my greatest fears about the future of Nigeria is our collective loss of the capacity for anger. The political class knows it. They can do what they want and get away with it because we simply note what they are doing, grumble and continue on our daily hustle for survival. It was the Cameroonian author, Professor Celestine Monga, who reminded us in his book, The Anthropology of Anger, Civil Society and Democracy in Africa, that the capacity of civil society and citizens in Africa to advance the democratization agenda of their countries is a function of their ability to express outrage at the destruction of their societies and its assets by selfish ruling classes. The nouns that define how we feel are important indications of our capacity to act. Anger, rage, fury, ire, wrath, resentment, and indignations are vital elements in creating human agency and carrying out a real transformation agenda. Fury denotes our marked displeasure at a particular situation and demonstrates we have not given up and substituted passive sadness for anger. Every week, Nigerians are inundated with news stories about massive corruption and bad governance. The least we can do is show our indignation at how our rulers are ruling our country. Following the end of the Second World War, the anger of Nigerians at British misrule boiled. Nigerians had a leadership that could channel the anger. Herbert Macaulay, Michael Imodu, and Nnamdi Azikiwe organized a national strike in 1945 and in 1946, toured 153 communities to get the popular mandate to end the colonial rule and use Nigerian resources for Nigerian development. In Kano, Ibadan, Enugu, Lagos, tens of thousands of Nigerians turned up at a cost of living demonstration and the death knell of colonialism was sounded. Herbert Macaulay, the 82-year-old angry nationalist, died on his way back from the Kanu rally. The British authorities, seeing the anger of the people, were forced to stop making the claims that the nationalist leaders were talking for the elite and not for the masses. Today, Nigeria is in misery, suffering from the terrible cost of living crisis similar to the one experienced in 1945/46. And all that happened was a one-day strike to make speeches about promises not kept. The second day of the protest was cancelled because the labor unions were afraid that the government could get angry and deal with them. That's our lot. We have lost the capacity to really get angry at those messing us up. Over the past 2 decades, no general strike has lasted more than 2 days. It starts with the apparent anger and ends with a whimper, signaling some money has changed hands. The government knows the price it has to pay to settle a general strike. How can they take citizens seriously, knowing the leadership to channel anger into effective resolve no longer exists? Today, Nigerians are suffering because they can no longer feed their families, as stagnant wages and food inflation makes it impossible for them to get enough to eat. They should have been furious because they know that the decision to remove fuel subsidy and float the naira were made precisely to produce this outcome. By these acts, Nigerians were guaranteed to suffer extremely high costs of transport, food, and other essentials. It is a policy framework aimed at deepening poverty and the sufferings of Nigerians. Today, Nigerian citizens live in deep fear because of the insecurity that defines their daily existence. Millions of farmers can no longer farm their land because gunmen attack and kill them or impose taxes to allow them farm. Nigerians cannot travel anymore because they cannot afford the fare or because they are afraid of being kidnapped for ransom. Nigerians cannot even worship in peace because they are afraid of terrorists could attack and kill them while in their churches and mosques. Where is the anger that flows from their knowledge that the government has a constitutional responsibility to provide their security and welfare, and it is simply not doing so? Every day, there are reports of massive corruptions by government officials who simply pocket billions and billions of public money, and accountability mechanisms are almost never activated against them. Nigerians simply watch and wonder at the depth of corruption in the country and simply show no appreciation that there are public resources that could have gone a long way in addressing the crisis faced by the people, but are privatized and accumulated by a few. In terms of the political process, the electoral choices made by or sought for by Nigerians are often subverted using money, violence, or the courts that specialize these days in removing the elected officials chosen by the people and replacing them with people illegally imposed by judges who interfere continuously with the electoral outcomes. The judiciary, which is supposed to be the last hope of the common people, is today almost entirely controlled by the political class, and the people continue to watch and wonder. Increasingly, the rights of the citizens of Nigeria to protest against bad governance, the right to dissent and to freedom of expression as guaranteed by the Constitution, are being denied, frustrated, and challenged by the governing class. Meanwhile, Nigerians continue to watch and wonder. Dear Nigerians, when will we get out of this trap of passive sadness? Where is the anger, rage, fury, ire, wrath, resentment, and indignation against bad and irresponsible governance in Nigeria? That brings an end to the news headlines for the week. This is BCB, the Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra, saying thank you for listening and goodbye, friends.
Thank you for listening to us today. Join us next time for news, cultural, and educational programs. This is the Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra, BCB.
Give us the strength.